Had curry. Had to have curry. Had to have curry on YouTube night. Just had to do it. All right. So you've decided that you want to start streaming, and that's great. But now you have a whole bunch more questions that you're looking for answers for, and the more you look online, the more confusing it becomes and more unsurmountable it becomes. In this video, we're going to lay out the basic things that you're going to need to start streaming, or at least get your foot into the door. And these are things that you can easily upgrade later on or find out tips and tricks in future videos to make what you have look even better. Hey guys, Captain Morgan here, bringing another video to you on streaming and stream setups. If you're into this kind of content or like watching people play video games, I stream every Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. So if you want to come by, hang out in the chat, watch us play some games, or even ask some questions that you have about your stream setups, by all means. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. So we've all done it. We've gone onto Twitch and we've seen some really amazing streams, especially from some of our favorite streamers, whether it be Nick Mercs, Tim the Tap Man, Ninja, whoever it might be, and it's really inspired us to start streaming and say, I want to make it to this level. I want to be upfront with you. Your stream is not going to look like theirs if you're just starting out. And don't be discouraged, though, because that is beyond your control. It is not something that you're able to control. You're going to be starting at the bottom, and you're going to have a highly limited bit rate. You're going to have a highly limited amount of bandwidth. You're not going to be an affiliate yet. You're not going to be a partner yet. You're going to start at square one. But that being said, that doesn't mean that you can't make a professional-looking stream. So I've gone ahead and created a list of things that, in my opinion, are things that you are going to want to incorporate into your stream if you're first starting out. Now remember, none of this is going to be based on an extremely high budget or an extremely low budget. It's going to be whatever you interpret this information to be is what's going to apply to you. So if your budget's down low, start with what you can and work your way up. So the first thing that I'm going to have you do is going to cost you no money, but it is going to cost you some time, and that is to research the platform that you plan on streaming to. There's a whole bunch of platforms out there. The three ones that I'm going to focus on here, well, really the one I'm going to focus on is Twitch, because that's the one that I'm streaming on. Therefore, I know enough about it to relate it to the stream setups. But you also have YouTube gaming and Facebook gaming, and these are starting to go up on the rise, and there's starting to be a good following on these, so it's definitely worthwhile to mention it to people who are first starting out streaming. So what I'm going to want you to do is go onto these platforms, research what it takes to become an affiliate or an affiliate-like entity on these other streaming sites. So for the most part, the rest of this is going to be Twitch terminology, because that's what I use to base all this information on. So you're going to want to look at what it takes to become an affiliate, what kind of options are open to you once you start gathering a following and building a community for yourself. You're going to want to start looking into what it takes to reach these goals and how attainable these goals are going to be given your current setup. And then after that, you need to determine what your goals are. So it's always good to set goals for yourself, goals that are reachable. You want to start off with your short-term goals and your long-term goals. For the short-term goals, you want to make affiliate. Your short-term goals are you want to reach a certain amount of followers, all that kind of stuff. You know, your long-term goal is I want to be paid to do this and replace my job. If that's your gig, go for it. That's what you want to do. So you really need to set a believable amount of goals for yourself, and it's really, are you trying to get a return on investment? So are you trying to be a paid streamer? Are you looking to be famous? You won't be so famous. You're trying to just get as many people to see your face and get to know you and build a community that way. Or is this just something that's fun and you're doing in your spare time, which is totally fine as well. Everybody needs hobbies. It's a really fun hobby to have. Personally, I stream on Twitch because the way I see it is a platform that is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's been around for a long time and has a well-established community, and that's kind of what I was looking to build. I want to build my own community. I want to be somewhat famous. Let's not be too glib about this. And it'd be nice to be paid to do stuff like this. And they're all really attainable goals. Don't think of this as vanity. If this is a goal of yours and this is something that you would like to do as a career, go for it. And that's just me. I chose Twitch for those reasons. YouTube gaming and Facebook gaming, I can tell you from experience and seeing the metrics, you're going to gain viewers and followers a whole lot faster going through these platforms than you are on Twitch. The Twitch grind is slow, it is arduous, but in my opinion, in the end, it is worth it. So look up your platform, find out what your real goals are, and pick your platform based on this. So now that you've decided which platform you're going to stream to, you need to decide what software you're going to stream with. There are a lot of good options out there, but the main two that I see people using, are OBS, which is Open Broadcast Software, Open Broadcast Software, and Streamlabs OBS, which is built on top of OBS. So there are pros and cons to using both of these, and the main pro and con that I see used for this is OBS is far more capable, but it has a steeper learning curve, whereas if you use Streamlabs, which is built on top of OBS, they have really tailored the experience for the user to make it a whole lot easier to set up scenes, especially for people who have never used this kind of software before. That being said, there's a caveat to using Streamlabs OBS, also commonly referred to as Slobs, is that whenever there is an update to OBS or they have some new feature, Slobs is a little bit behind the curve. They're about 2 months behind producing this to their users because they have to incorporate into the code. They have to move a whole bunch of stuff around. They have to get everything right before they can deliver it to the end user. So that's something to be on the lookout for. If you're trying to be on the cutting edge of the broadcast software, I would go with OBS. If you have more patience and ability to learn these kinds of more advanced concepts. But if you just want to get started streaming and you want to get ready to rock and roll, I would use Streamlabs. It's a really easy alternative and it's going to get you in there. Personally, I use Slobs. I started off not knowing anything about Streamlabs or OBS or streaming software of any kind, so I downloaded Streamlabs and I got my foot into the door. I will say I think I'm ready to start upgrading now to OBS as I want to start doing a little bit more advanced things on my stream. But if you want help setting up your Streamlabs OBS, there's going to be a link to the video that I produced earlier on, and that's going to give you kind of a rundown on how to install and set up OBS for a stream that's tailored for you. All right, so now we've picked our platform and the software you're going to use to stream to that platform. The next thing we're going to need are all of your peripherals. So this is all going to be based on your budget. You get to decide what you want to do. Whatever you're comfortable with, that's what you need to go with. But these are the peripherals that I think every stream should have, and they are in order. So if you're going to start doing just a couple of these, get them in this order. So the first thing that I recommend you get is a webcam. Now, before all you guys jump into my business, hear me out. You're going to say there's a whole lot of streamers out there that don't have a webcam, and that's true. There are a lot of streamers out there that don't have a webcam. So we're trying to make this look like a professional stream on a budget. If you want to accomplish this, you need to get a webcam. When you're playing these games on these platforms, half of this is your gameplay. The other half is the relationship people are forming with you, who you are, the gamer playing the game. So if these people can't see you, they're not really going to be all that attached to what's going on in your stream. So in my opinion, webcam is a necessity, and it should be the first thing that you get. There's a couple of things I want you to remember about webcams when you're starting to shop initially, and it's all going to be based on how you're streaming your game. So if you're streaming at 720p 60 frames per second, you need to find a camera that can do 60 frames per second. If you're planning to stream at 1080p at 30 frames per second, your webcam needs to at least do 30 frames per second. And the reason is, if you have these things side by side and the viewer is watching this, they can definitely tell a difference between 60 frames and 30 frames, especially if they're offset in the same frame. So if you do this, people are going to kind of get the vibe that the webcam is cheap or the stream isn't optimized. So always match your frame per second with your stream and your webcam. I personally stream with a Logitech Brio, but I did start at the bottom with a 30 frame per second knockoff webcam from Amazon for like $40. And I even found another knockoff camera that does shoot 60 frames per second, 1080p. And the link to that review is up here in the description if you want to check that out. It was actually a pretty good camera that gave the Brio a run for its money for 1080p. All right, so we've taken care of a webcam. We at least have something for the viewer to see our face. The next thing that not a lot of people put a whole bunch of emphasis on, especially for new streamers, is your audio. As with everything else, there are varying levels of audio and what your budget can afford, so just make sure that you stay within the realm of reality when looking for these items. One way is to use the built-in microphone in your webcam. Do I recommend this? No. But if this is the bare bones way to get your audio into your stream and at least people can hear you talking, by all means use it. Another option that's available to you that most gamers have readily available is your headset. Your headset comes with a microphone. Do I recommend this? No. But again, if this is all that you have and all that you need to start with, this is all that you need to start your empire. Really, the things that I recommend to streamers, whether you're starting out or you're kind of a seasoned vet, is getting a dedicated microphone for your stream setup. I recommend for new streamers USB because it is easy, it is cheap, and it's going to give you pretty good sounding quality audio. Of course, I recommend to everybody, myself included, I should take my own advice, is an XLR microphone. But XLR microphones come with a bunch of overhead. You have to have mixers, you have to have things that power everything. It has to be able to interface into your PC. It requires a much larger upfront cost. So that's why for new streamers, I recommend a USB microphone, as it is just plug and play, and you can download things for EQ balance, setting up all your noise gates, compressors, all of these things, and it's relatively easy. And if you want, I have a link to the video where I did a review on this microphone, and this microphone has been proving worth its weight in gold, especially at the price point that this is available at. All right, so you have your webcam, and now you have audio. The third thing I want you to focus on when you're first starting your stream is lighting. And there's a lot of people that don't put an emphasis on lighting in their first streams, and it definitely shows. Lighting can be the key element to take your webcam from looking like this to this. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and blow all your money on an Elgato key light for $200 or $300, but you do need to put a little bit of time and effort into lighting up that face of yours when you're going live for streaming. I mean, I found these Neewer streaming lights. They come with a monopole. I bought a couple of clamps to go with it so I could put it onto my shelf. They're very bright. They do a really good job of lighting up the subject, and they weren't even that expensive. If you want to check these out, there is a link here to go to the video where I did a review on these. You should go check them out. So lighting allows you to change the exposure on your webcam, which is going to enable you to make the stream settings look a whole lot more professional. And it's going to be really the big difference that makes a $30 webcam look like a $200 webcam. Logitech. But if these kind of purpose-built lights are a little bit out of reach on the budget, I totally understand that. Another really good option is to go down to Home Depot or Lowe's. You can grab a clamp light, and a clamp light is a housing that has a clamp on it, you know, a spring clamp. You go get a low wattage bulb, low wattage so that way it isn't a fire risk. And then you get some diffuser paper or baking paper or wax paper, and you diffuse the light in the front of it, and you just clamp it really close to your webcam, and it's going to do a pretty good job. There is one tip that I want to share with you guys, and you need to make sure that you get your light as close to your camera as possible, because it's going to eliminate weird shadows, making it look like it's definitely an artificial type of cinematography. And if you have the budget, I would definitely recommend a fill light. So I have a light right here that is behind the webcam. I stared right at it. That was a bad idea. And then I also have, to eliminate shadows, another key light coming from here. And there's even another backfill light back over here that is trying to highlight some of the back of my head so that way I get separated a little bit from my background. But these are all advanced concepts. So I'm going to have more videos down the line and getting you guys set up with your lighting and all sorts of camera trickery. So those are pretty much the 5 things that I recommend that every streamer start off with. You need to find your platform, find your streaming software that you're comfortable with, get a webcam, find some way to integrate some audio, and definitely get some lighting. So there are plenty of other things that you can do to improve your stream, but all of those are going to come at a cost, whether it be monetary costs, so things that are going to cost a lot more money to get your stream looking the way you want it, or it's going to be a much heavier time cost, so you're going to be spending a lot more of your time focusing on things and learning how to do other things like make your own overlays or animations or alerts. It's really time consuming. But there are other things that aren't as time consuming, and they're probably things that you do already. Setting up a schedule and adhering to it in your streaming platform. Setting up social media accounts so that way you can funnel viewers who like you on social media, funnel them into your Twitch channel. These are things that don't take up a whole lot of time, but can be really beneficial in the end. Also, if you already have some of this stuff laying around, like an Elgato Stream Deck, if you have that for using for Photoshop or any of your other stuff, I would highly recommend using one of those so you can avoid doing stuff like this.
Tree Niner 707.
Oh, I'm like telling. I'm hitting my hotkeys and I'm all over the place. You know, maybe you got a really cool eclectic collection of gaming paraphernalia. You want to throw it in the back of your stream. Get a cheap shelf. Go down to Walmart, get a cheap shelf, put it behind you in the stream. Put all your stuff on there. Throw a light on there so everybody can see what it is. Maybe you don't know what to do with your money and you want to buy a whole nother PC that does just your streaming, so that way your gaming machine can be just a gaming machine. I don't know. Put interesting stuff in the back of your stream. Anything that make you stand out and as somebody who's different, somebody who isn't streaming the exact same way as everybody else. They're all good things, and if you have them already, find a way to incorporate them. So look, I get it. Streaming can be intimidating, especially with the plethora of information that's out there. It gets really overwhelming. I felt overwhelmed when I first started this, and like figuring out all of the controls, figuring out all of the things that you need to do, learning cinematography tricks, lighting, camera tricks, all that stuff. It's very overwhelming. But once you just hunker down and you just start streaming, it's really going to be okay. And the one thing that you need to have in the back of your mind is this is fun. You get to make a channel that you think is insanely cool. You get to be the director, the producer, the script writer. You get to be the lighting engineer. You get to be the camera guy, and you get to be the star of your show. I mean, this gets me excited. I get excited to have my own show where I can do whatever I want to do. And I got to tell you, I love motivating other people to be able to do the same thing. It really gets me excited to get other people involved in this and show them the way and give them helping hands when they need it and give them the encouragement that they need. So I just want to state again, all the things that I previously mentioned, they are my opinion. They aren't a requirement. They aren't something that you have to do. This is your show. You get to make your own show with what you got. If you can afford to get the webcam, the microphone, the lighting, go for it. You're not going to be upset. You're going to thank me later that you did it. If you can't, don't. So we're going to have many more videos like this with tech tips, how-tos, how to make your own animations, how to make your own alerts, your own overlays, how to brand yourself, how to drive traffic to your channel based on your social media. All those kinds of things are going to be coming up. If there's anything that you'd like me to review, if there's anything that you would like me to expand on, elaborate on, you have questions about streaming that you'd like to have answered, go ahead and let me know down there in the comments section, and I'll get to you guys and see what we come up with. I hope you liked this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon so you won't be missing any of my videos that'll be coming up in the future. And until I see you guys next time, game on.